about me, and I didn't even, trying to fathom all that. But I'm just a person. I grew up here in Greenville. I was a paramedic in Greenville County for a long time. I was an RN. I worked in the trauma center. See that over there? And then I got into, because as a paramedic, I was on the SWAT team. And because of that, I got into personal protection, and I got into protecting people like Senator Rubio. And there's a lot of others. I mean, I protect people that don't have titles. Some people come to me and say, look, I've got a problem, I've got a stalker. I've had businesses come to me and they say, we've got a workplace violence issue, we've got a workplace situation, can you come help us with that? I've helped companies with high-risk terminations and things. But let's get back to the safety issue, because we'll start off with talking a little bit about what he was talking about, you're being safe here. But all your safety begins with who? You individual, okay? And so you've got to stay on top of the game. When I was in the Army, I was an Army nurse, and one of the things I was assigned to do was, say a big unit went to the shooting range, I was assigned their safety officer. And so I'd give up and get the safety briefing before, because why? We don't want them messing up, because what are they handling? Guns. So I would give a safety briefing, and I would talk about hydration and things such as that. But then with them I could do some things like threaten. Like say, if you don't drink so much water, I could start IV on you. And I'd hold up a big needle and scare everybody to death. And so I can't do that, guys, with you guys. But that's kind of the things I would do. So let's start. I'm going to cover two topics with you guys today. All about taking care of yourself. One of them is about taking care of yourself health-wise, and the other is going to be about just watching yourself and watching your people around you. Okay, we've heard a lot about some stuff in the news, and we're going to touch on that a little bit. But the first thing I'm going to do is talk about you. Okay, tips to boost energy levels and fight fatigue. In this hot weather, one of the things I hear people talk about, I feel sluggish all the time. It doesn't matter what I do. I can rest, I can sleep, and I just feel sluggish all the time. And there's so many things that contribute to that. And one of the things we want to do is work with you to get where you don't feel sluggish, because the last thing you want to do is feel sluggish here. You feel sluggish here, you're going to make a mistake and you can have an accident. So we talked a little bit about what keeps you on your toes. How do you stay on your toes? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is talk about drinking water. How many times do you hear that a day? Drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water, drink plenty of water. I can't tell you about how important that is. And I can walk up to people in companies that work in warehouses. I can walk up to people that's working downtown, and I hate to say this, but I get real personal with them. I'll say, when's the last time you went to the bathroom? That's important. As a nurse, to me, that's important. If you haven't been in 3 or 4 hours, guess what? You're probably a bit dehydrated. So we tell people about drinking water constantly. I don't care, you might think you feel full, drink water, drink water. Well, I want to drink my Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew has what? Caffeine. Energy drinks, they're so popular right now. Energy drinks have what? Caffeine. I hate to tell you this, but you know what caffeine does? Like coffee, it will dehydrate you more. Okay? It will suck more fluid out of you than put fluid into you. So you got to be careful with the energy drinks. You got to be careful with the caffeine drinks. But this is the real important thing. A lot of people think, well, I'll just drink Gatorade. I'll be fine. I'm going to tell you from a nursing standpoint, and I also got involved with athletes and sports medicine a little bit. Gatorade is not it. Most of the time, people will buy a bottle of Gatorade and they'll chug it. You know what you're supposed to really do with a bottle of Gatorade? To split it in half with water, because regular Gatorade will dehydrate you more because it has so much sodium in it. See, Gatorade is not all what it's cracked up to be unless you dilute it. I still don't like it, even diluted, but it's better than drinking straight out of the bottle. You should dilute it. Gatorade will dehydrate you more. So we go back to what? Water. Okay, I don't like the taste of water. Then find some water that you like the taste of. But water is going to be your best bet. And I drink, personally, I'm going to be honest with you, I have a weakness with tea, sweet tea. I drink a lot of sweet tea. But that's not the best thing either. Why? Because sugar and caffeine. So I've started this thing now to where if I drink a glass of tea, guess what? I also drink a glass of water. So I try to equal it out. I'm going to try to drink as much or more water as I am tea. So you've got to be careful about what you drink. Water, water, water. And if you drink water on a regular basis, you'd be surprised how much better you'll make you feel. And everybody says, well, I don't feel good because I don't have my caffeine. If you drink water enough and you get to where you drink a lot of water, you will notice that it doesn't matter when you have the caffeine. It works. Before I left to go on the campaign, Diane mentioned that I was with Senator Marco Rubio. So I traveled with him for 6 months. And I'm a nurse, so I kind of serve several purposes when I'm with someone like that. I'm not only protecting them physically, but I'm also protecting them otherwise too. And statistically speaking, if I have a client that I'm protecting, they're probably going to get sick or injured in an accident before they actually have a physical altercation that I have to protect them from. So my nursing comes in very handy from that. So when I started riding with them, I noticed a lot of them drank soft drinks and stuff like that. I started encouraging them drinking water. And a lot of them started converting to water, except for a few that kept drinking the Red Bull, which is really, really bad. But they kept drinking the Red Bull. I had weaned myself off of Mountain Dew. And I hadn't had Mountain Dew probably in a year before I started traveling. And during the travel time, we had a couple of instances where we didn't have bottled water. And everybody kept handing me a bottle of Mountain Dew. And I kept going, ew. I want to tell you, because I had weaned myself off, when I drank it, it tasted terrible. And I didn't like it anymore. And I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I got water back as quick as I can. So most majority of the time I drink water, and I drink some tea. Unfortunately, I do. But water, water, water. What's next? How many people don't eat breakfast here? That's one of the most important meals of the day because it gets your metabolism revved up. You can read all kinds of stuff. They'll say, well, breakfast really doesn't make that big a difference. Breakfast is not that big a deal. But from a metabolism standpoint, your metabolism keeps you going. I wonder about Diane's metabolism all the time. But that's what keeps you going. And breakfast is so important for that. And you don't have to have the bacon, the eggs, the tomatoes, and bread. There's other things, oatmeal and stuff like that. But eating a real good breakfast is one thing that will keep you revved up in the morning, keep you revved up through the morning hours. Don't skip meals. I know people that skip meals. And I know for a variety of reasons people skip meals. I'm going to skip meal today because I have time. Make time. It will keep you going. I'm going to skip a meal because I'm trying to lose weight. That's the worst thing you can do. Because what does breakfast do? It increases your metabolism. Okay, your metabolism is what helps you lose weight. You skip a meal and what happens to your metabolism? It drops down. So eating and skipping is good, skipping a meal is bad. You have to watch what you eat too. We won't get into that today because we've all had pizza today, so we're not really talking about that today. Get plenty of sleep. Avoid sleeping medicines. Okay, how much sleep is good? How many people can do well on 6 hours of sleep? How many people need 8 hours of sleep? So for me to stand up here and say, every one of you should get 8 hours of sleep, I don't do that. Okay, you hear people say, okay, what's normal? You know what, there's not a normal. Because what's normal for me is not normal for you. So I tell people that if 6 hours sleep is good for you, make sure you get 6 hours sleep. If 8 hours sleep is what you need, make sure you get 8 hours sleep. Good sleep. The problem is that people will take sleeping medications or something to help them go to sleep. That is bad because it will cause all kinds of issues. How many people take Benadryl before they go to sleep? Nobody gonna raise their hand, I'm sure. You know what Benadryl will make you do? Snore. If you use Benadryl as a sleeping agent, it will make you snore. And snoring keeps good oxygen from your brain, so you're not going to get the good sleep that you thought you would. Most medications that you take for sleep will actually reduce the amount of oxygen going to your brain. So you think you'll sleep as well? No, you might think you did, but you don't. So most people that take a lot of sleeping medicine, when they wake up, they actually feel worse. Or they feel groggy. Or they feel like they have a hangover. Stay away from sleeping medicines as much as you can. How do I do that? How do I get to where I can sleep well? Okay? Exercise. And I don't mean going out and finding some expensive gym or something like that. You can walk around the block. You can do things around the house. You don't have to go to the gym to exercise. There's so many different things. And more of the studies that show that all it takes is walking around the block a couple of times. It will be more exercise than you can imagine. And so stay away. You don't have to go to the gym. There's other things you can do. But if you exercise, guess what? You're going to sleep well. I have friends that before they turn in at night, they'll go for a walk, a mile and a half, 2 mile walk. And when they get home, they take a shower, they go to bed, they sleep good all night. I don't like working out that late at night, but that's what they do. And they'll tell you that they sleep 6, 7 hours without any problem because they exercise before they go to bed. And they took that nice hot shower. Learn to relax. tell people all the time, take a chill pill. Get to where you can just settle down. When you take a break here, when you're having your lunch, close your eyes and relax a little bit. Okay? I'm not going to go into yoga stuff. I'm not going to go tell you all that kind of stuff. I'm going to tell you that you can just sit back, close your eyes, think about other things, get away from work in your mind, get away from the other things in your mind, and just relax for a little bit. Okay? That's so important. That will help you. Everything that I've told you today, if you will look up some of the stuff in some of these magazines that you pay a bunch of money for, they'll tell you exactly everything I just told you. Starting with drinking water, okay? Eating the right things. First off, just eat. We're not going to get into what to do, but eating the right things, getting rest, and exercising. That's the main things to do. All right, any questions on that part? Was what about some of the other medicines like Advil PM, Tylenol PM? It's all medications. It's all it's false stuff to make you go to sleep. If you are having pain for some reason, arthritis, things such as that, where you've got to take some pain medicine anyway, and it's at night, that's okay. But I know a lot of people that take the Tylenol PM or the Advil PM just to relax, just to go to sleep. And that's not good. Okay, but if you happen to take it for the pain, it's going to help you relax from the pain. Okay, the pain might make you stay awake. Okay, so you're taking the Tylenol or the Advil for the pain. You got a little bit of extra kick in there. It's not going to make you snore as much as Benadryl will, but it can have some adverse effects in the long run. The other thing about Benadryl, I know people that take Benadryl on a regular basis. It's been proven here lately on some of the research that Benadryl can cause dementia. So a lot of people looked at that and they said, maybe I'm taking too much Benadryl. Benadryl was really designed for what? And histamine for allergic reactions. We just kind of got used to that sedative effect and started taking it for other things as well. But a lot of the stuff that's in the Tylenol PM or the Advil PM is some of the same stuff. Yeah. Again, if you're taking it for that reason, for medical reasons, it's totally different. But if you're just taking it to help you sleep, no, it's not good. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? All right. So what's been happening the last couple of days that's been in the news? I have to speak up.
Terrorism.
Security type stuff, shooting. What happened? Yeah, it's not on here, but on my slide, because I didn't go back in and change it, but what happened in San Francisco yesterday? Everybody follow that? Had an active shooter situation. That's all about safety. I mean, that's all about safety, knowing what's going on around you. So, San Francisco, of course, everybody knows what happened in D.C. yesterday. So let's talk a little bit about active shooter. Why am I talking, or why do I feel comfortable talking about active shooter? Because I've been there. Most of you probably don't remember this, but we had actually had an active shooter situation at Greenville Memorial Hospital several years ago. We had a situation, and I was working nights as an RN, and about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we heard a noise. Y'all work in a warehouse, so you know what it sounds like when a board hits the concrete? Kind of sounds a little like a gunshot, but it's that board hitting the concrete. EMS uses those backboards to put people on. Well, we were so used to hearing that backboard fall and stuff, so we heard that, and that's what we thought it was, and then we heard this little ding, and we kind of looked at each other, and I looked around the corner, and at that point I had already been working something as a SWAT medic on the SWAT team, so I kind of got used to that noise. I looked around the corner, and what had happened is a prisoner that had been brought in for medical coverage had overpowered his detention center officer, took his gun, and started shooting. We evacuated the emergency room, so we had patients, staff, and everything outside under one of the parking garages. And while the person that was involved, they were in a room, and the detention center officer did a smart thing when all this started. When he first started shooting, bullets came outside that room. What the detention center officer didn't know is the room used to be an x-ray room. So what were the walls lined with? Lead. He didn't know that, but he kicked the door shut. So now, the bullets are not going to come out unless the person comes outside that room. So we did evacuate. I held back, and because I knew the officer, and for other reasons. You know, everybody started laughing because I kept telling them I wanted to do security and I wanted to do protection, and they kind of looked at me funny. And this is the one incident the hospital had told me, maybe he really does want to do this, because when everybody else was running out, where was I going? Too. And we thought they were using revolvers back then. We thought we counted the number of rounds that he had shot, but I knew he had a belt on, he could reload. But we kicked the door in, and just as I kicked the door in, the guy shot the officer in the neck. So the officer was shot 3 times, and I said, okay, good, that should be the last bullet. And I yelled at him, he turned around and shot at me, and came very close to hit him. In the long run, we backed out. The police got there. The officer got up and came out. The guy escaped up into the ceiling, and we took the officer into the trauma bays and started working on him. He was shot 3 times, one in the neck, got his lung, got his kidney, but he lived. He's good. He's good to go. But it was kind of a situation like it'd take you about 20, 30 minutes just to tell you the whole story. But living through that, you start understanding some of the stuff that happens at these active shooter events. Okay, what are active shooters? All right, anybody that comes in, and we say active shooter, but it doesn't have to be a gun. All right, we have people that do things in workplaces that use knives, use explosives and stuff, but the most popular thing is gun. Okay, that's why we call it active shooter. And even if they're using a knife, we're going to call it what? An active shooter. You hear about the things over in Britain, over in England, where they use knives. We're still calling that an active shooter, even though they're using a knife, because it's still the same concept. Somebody's coming in and they're trying to do a lot of harm to a lot of different people. Okay, so we call it an active shooter. Normally they use firearms. Now, let me tell you, this class that I usually do on this, it's like a 4-hour class. This is like a real advanced version of this. All right, so who are the possibilities of who active shooters are? Current employee or disgruntled employee? What was yesterday at San Francisco was a UPS driver who had a problem with management. Okay, and the management wasn't listening to him, so he decided to get their attention. And for those of you who hadn't heard, he killed 3 people before killing himself. Okay, disgruntled employee, former employees, and this is where I get involved with a lot of times, because somebody will want to terminate somebody and they're afraid of that person. You know, we know he has a bunch of guns at home, he's a little bit unstable, we don't know what's going to happen, so they hired me to come in, and many times in that situation they don't really want him to know who I am, so I'll dress him. I'll dress in jeans or something like that, but I'm there to protect him. Domestic situations, this is becoming a bigger and bigger thing, where say somebody's spouse is having a problem with them, and then all of a sudden they're going to their workplace to take it out of them. Okay, and they're going to hurt anybody that gets in their way. So domestic situations, there's a lot more than that. Lawrence County, many of you remember just that recently, May the 5th, where we had the active shooter down in Lawrence County, Fountain Inn. Don't remember that? Okay, the old plant down there. The guy was working there as a contract worker. On June 5th in Orlando, Florida, they were several people were shot by a former employee. Okay, after receiving a call about termination, the employee decided to go and make this statement. So what can you do? The number one thing we tell people to do is know what's going on around you. We use the old term, head on a swivel. Okay, I watched an eagle this morning on a video, and the eagle had to turn around all the time when he's looking at things, and it reminded me of that's what we do. We're supposed to be looking around at all times, knowing what's going on around us, head on a swivel type look. Where are your exits? How do I get out? Does this guy look a little suspicious to you? Okay, this is a video of a training session where a company was hired to go in and do an active shooter type event. They didn't tell the employees they were going to do it. And as you'll see, he walks in, he's dressed in black, he's wearing a backpack. You see any of these people turning around looking at him? Would that not raise your suspicion level a little bit? But it did. And what's not seen over here is a security guard that's over here. He's an unarmed security officer. And he walks up and he pulls a shotgun out of his bag. Still, no one does anything. He stands with a shotgun in his hand, and then he acts like he shoots a security guard. That's what we're talking about. Be aware of what's going on around you, okay? Where are your exits? One of the first things we do, we walk into a place, I'm looking around, where's the exits? Not just because of shooter. What if you have a fire? What if you have any kind of thing? Where's my exits? How do I get out of here? Okay? So, when I talk to you about what happened at the hospital, what was the first thing we did? We evacuated the patients and we evacuated the staff. Okay, so one of the things that we teach now through Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security with FEMA and stuff like that, there's 3 things you can do. The first thing you want to do, though, if at all possible, is you want to evacuate. Okay? We tell people, get out, take your friends with you if you can, but get out. Do you want to grab your purse? No. Do you want to grab your computer? No. You want to get out. Okay? Leave your valuables behind. If you can grab a friend or a coworker or two, take them with you, but get out if at all possible. If you can't get out, then hide. Find a place to hide. Okay? There's a lot of places around here you can hide. A lot of places that you kind of duck down. I got this here because people tend to huddle together. And what were you told to do at the beginning of this thing? Turn off your cell phones. If your cell phone rings, is that shooter going to hear it? Okay? So silence your cell phone. If you're going to hide, silence your cell phone. There's so many different places you can hide. Barricade yourself in. We've heard of some of the schools that have had active shooters where the teachers were barricaded, put kids into a classroom and stuff like that. Great, but turn off your cell phone. Or at least put them on silent. Okay? All right? The last thing you want to do, I can't escape, I can't hide. I don't want to be taken hostage. I don't want to be killed. So what am I going to do? I'm going to fight back. Okay? And I put 2 slides up there, a couple of things that we've had on here. And this used to be the slide we used all the time. But a lot of people look at it and they say, I'm not strong enough to overcome something like that. Okay? Got a guy coming out. He's attacking the guy with a gun. So I put this one up here to show that you don't have to have the strength, you don't have to have any technical knowledge. You got fire extinguishers over here, and I'm going to tell you what, that's one of my favorite weapons. Fire extinguishers are great. You can create a fog, you can throw it at them, you can hit them with them. Fire extinguishers are great. Find something in the room, throw chairs at them. You heard in one of the active shooter situations recently, is they threw a chair at the person. Okay? So look for something to fight back. 3 things, active shooter, I want you to remember. Number 1, try to evacuate. Number 2, if you can't evacuate, hide. If you hide, what do? Silence your cell phones. The last resort, absolute last resort, will be to go after the shooter. Okay? We want you to survive. Okay? Everybody talks about access control. Can you do access control in a place like this? It's kind of hard. With your doors open and stuff like that, it's kind of hard. You can't ask every business to do access control. You can't do it. You've got to look at just watching yourself. Let me ask you, most of you good friends, right? You consider your friends family? Or are you going to take care of each other? Okay? We have a thing at the hospital when I teach things at the hospital. I teach people at the hospital how to decontaminate. People that have been involved with chemicals and biologicals. In the Army, one of my backgrounds was biochemical warfare. So we tell people all the time, if your fellow worker has something on them, what do you want to do? You want to get it off of them. Okay? But if you're taking care of somebody that's been exposed to chemicals and you see them approach, don't you want to stop them because they should be wearing a suit? We tell all these people, protect yourself first, protect your friends and your family next. That make sense? I want to go home. All right. When law enforcement arrives, what do? Remain calm and follow the officer's instructions. There are so many things they'll tell you to do. It'll get lost in translation and stuff like that. Follow their instructions. But the biggest thing I can tell you to do is as you exit, if you'll hold your hands up and keep your fingers spread apart. Because you know what they're looking for? They're looking for another bad person. Okay? If you got your hands like this, they're going to come after you. Yesterday, if you'll look at some of the videos from yesterday in San Francisco, they had a lot of the UPS workers, especially ones in the brown suits, because that's what the shooter was wearing, was brown shorts and brown shirt. They had many of them up against the wall, searching them to make sure that they weren't part of the problem or they weren't the problem and somebody else just killed themselves. So when you are exiting a situation where like that and the officers say, get your hands up, what they're trying to do is they want to see your hands. They want to see your hands, make sure you don't have a weapon in your hands. And that's what they're doing. If you'll notice on some of the video, because we have live feeds all the time with some of these active shooters, especially schools, and you'll see them coming out of the place with their hands up. Okay? And that's why they've got their hands up. The officers are saying, get your hands up, hold them up, hold the fingers out at that, because they want to make sure you don't have something on you as well. All right, information. What if I'm the one that's calling it in? Okay, what do I tell? Well, guess what? Most likely the dispatcher is going to tell you, ask you the questions. But I'm going to tell you that it doesn't seem like forever when the dispatcher is asking the questions. 911, what's your emergency? Okay, what is your location? Okay, how many of them are there? It's going to drag out. Know what they're going to be looking for so you can answer real quick. Okay, location. Okay, I think y'all have your warehouses are numbered or lettered here, A, B, C, D. Which warehouse? Okay, we're at this location. Which warehouse you're going to be in? How many of the shooters? We don't always know the answer. You can say, I think there's one, but we don't know. And the police, I will tell you, when they get here, you may tell them there's one, but they're going to assume there's more. Okay, until they can prove otherwise. If you give a physical description of the shooter, number, type of weapons, you can always tell that. The guy yesterday in D.C., he started off with an AK-47. Nobody knew he had a pistol in his back until he ran out of ammo and he pulled the pistol out. So in the beginning, did everybody know he had two weapons? No. They saw the rifle and that's all they saw. So you don't always know that. Number of potential victims. Here, this is what I want to tell people. If I'm calling it in, how many people working? 40? Roughly? I'm going to say I have 40 people here. I don't know how many are down. Because I don't. Okay? Because I may see one down, but that may not be the only one. So I'm going to say I have 40 people here. I don't know. Okay? That kind of tells them a little bit how big the problem could be. All right. Recognize signs. Many times an active shooter is a current former employee. You want to know, okay, I've got John Doe over here that's worked here for 10 years. He's never shown any emotion. Here lately, he's just been grouchy as all get out. He's been mean to everybody. He's been short-tempered. We don't know what's going on with him. Who do I tell? I'm going to tell my supervisor, okay? And if you don't trust your supervisor, you go to your HR, okay? But you're going to tell somebody that something's not right. And a lot of times when that happens, things are stopped before they actually happen, okay? But many times, people ignore it. You know what, I don't want to get involved. You know, he's got some kind of issues going on, I don't want to get involved. You know what, the rest of you are my family, I'm going to get involved. That makes sense? Okay. All right, you like that hashtag, keep each other safe, and that's what we're supposed to be doing, keep each other safe. All right, any questions? Thanks for having me here. I covered a lot in a short period of time. Both things usually take about an hour to 2 hours to teach. We're just going to do something real brief. Good. Do you have any questions about active shooter?
I kind of set this up with Diane.
We weren't going to give you a heads up. We want to see how you answer. So, look around. Everybody's here but one person, Pam. She's answering the phones. Okay? You've got general equipment in 40 feet of space. It's an active shooter. What do we do?
Let me ask you that. What do you do? And let's start from where we are right now. Somebody comes in that back door with a gun, starts shooting. What are you going to do? All right, got an exit door over here. Can everybody get out through that exit door? You got one back there, but if your shooter's there, you want to go that direction. Okay? Everybody want to come here. All right? But we got a bottleneck. Not everybody's getting out. By now, he's over here. Okay? So we got some people that's still standing here. What are you going to do? You got places to hide? Yeah? Got places to hide? Is that what you're going to do? Okay. In a place like this, do you think you're going to have to get to the point where you're fighting? Probably not. Because you got enough exits. Okay. But say something happens, you got things going on, you get cornered. What can you use around here as a weapon? Okay. All right. But there seems to be one person y'all forgot. Who's still here? Pam? Who's going to go to Pam? Somebody's got to take care of Pam. Is Pam part of your family? Yeah. So somebody needs to take care of Pam. And most likely, one person will probably do that, or they'll come in the other door and grab her. But the biggest thing is, they come in, here's what I do. This is crazy. Because I have a lot of people that want to work for me in the executive protection mode. And first off, I tell them, well, first off, you got to go through 600 hours school like I did. But they don't want to hear that. But they want to work and do the things I do. We do a lot of events downtown. My company does, like in Zen, we do wedding receptions and stuff like that. That to them are kind of boring. Most of us have been security and law enforcement anytime. They're not boring. Anything that doesn't happen, we're good. But they'll say, how can you want to do executive protection, but this little stuff is piddly. Why is it piddly? Well, I mean, it's just little stuff we're babysitting. No, it's not. You know what I'm always going through? I'm looking at those people here. If this happens, how am I going to respond? If this happens, where's the closest doors? If this happens, how do I take care of those people that are in there? Because I'm there to protect those people. Okay? There may be 30 people there, there may be 200 people there. How do we protect those people? So my mind is constantly thinking about what if, okay? What if the shooter comes in this direction? Okay, y'all have a little bit of a disadvantage if he comes in this direction, right? Because you're sitting right here. Okay, you're still gonna run, you're gonna still try to evacuate, you're gonna still try to hide, but if he comes in, you got a little less, you're a little bit more vulnerable, okay? So you have to think about that. What do I do? How do I get out of here, right? How do I go after the people that I want to get out of here as well? What if they come in from this door? You can still go that direction, okay? So that's what I'm saying. I'm constantly thinking about things like that. When I'm sitting here eating a while ago, and I had a feeling this question might come up, I'm sitting here looking at all your exits, I'm going, wow, this is perfect, we can get out real easy here. But you might get caught up in the bottom getting out. And if you do, you may have to hide. And if you have to hide, at some point you may decide it's time to fight. And that's why I was going to say, you got a lot of things here that you can fight with. Okay. Any other questions? No?
Yeah. No question.
But she did it real.
Steve, Scott, Diane, thanks. Those were great talks, by the way.